I call this hearing of the Federal Spending Oversight Subcommittee to order. Before we start, I want to express this subcommittee's deepest sympathy to the family and friends of Ed Lorenzen, who was a senior policy advisor at the Committee for Responsible Federal Budget. Ed and his 4-year-old son tragically passed away 12 days ago in a house fire. Ed was a well-respected member of the budget community and possibly the foremost champion of the PAYGO rule. In fact, his Twitter handle was Captain PAYGO. By all accounts, Ed was a great guy and a dedicated budgeteer. Literally the day of his death, Ed was talking with my staff in preparation for this very hearing. So this tragedy is close to our hearts, and is with deep sympathy to his family that I ask everyone to join me in a moment of silence. Thank you. We're here today to discuss continuing resolutions, omnibus appropriations, missed funding deadlines, and shutdowns. This hearing is entitled, "The Terrible, No Good, Very Bad Ways of Funding Government." I can't think of a better way to describe how dysfunctional Congress is with its power of the purse. Today, government is open and on its 4th CR of the year. Who knows what will happen Thursday, but what we know is we're already a third of the way through the fiscal year and still using temporary funding. Just makes no sense. And this isn't a partisan problem either. The last time we passed all appropriation bills on time was 1997, which was only the 4th instance all appropriations were done since 1977, 4 times in 41 years. Missing appropriation deadlines have consequences. It causes uncertainty in agencies and delays plans, which may increase costs to the taxpayer. In October, we had a hearing on wasteful end-of-the-year spending. Part of the problem there is caused by the use-it-or-lose-it mentality, but we also heard that delayed appropriations compresses the funding window, meaning even good projects become lower quality as there's just less time to plan and obligate the funds. Another part of the problem that concerns me is that once Congress goes beyond the funding deadline, our incentive turns to doing an omnibus appropriation, which is maybe only slightly less bad than a continuing resolution. That is where we glue together all the unfunded programs into one single giant bill. How can Congress do proper oversight of spending when we throw everything into one giant trillion-dollar bill, sometimes with only hours to scrutinize and no chance to amend? As a doctor, I need an ophthalmoscope to look at the back of your eye, but being able to take a closer look helps me to diagnose and fix these problems. That's what we need in the budget process. It's exactly what we need is a closer look. Instead, we're given one giant bill with little debate and asked to vote up or down, and rarely allowed to amend the bill. Of course, we all know about and dread the government shutdowns. In fact, I often say, while I don't want to shut down government, I also am not sure I want to keep it open and still borrowing $1 million a minute. They're both not very good solutions. Making government less efficient, we've got to talk about, what we can do to fix it. So I've introduced something called the Shutdown Prevention Act, which says at the end of the fiscal year, anything still not funded would automatically be funded at 99% of the previous budget. What should make this a win-win for everyone is that agencies will have at least a minimum level of certainty. Government won't completely shut down. They'll keep spending money, but there will be a penalty. They'll spend 1% less. And around here, spending 1% less ought to be enough of a penalty to get everybody to do their job and do the appropriation bills on time. So I think this is an important and timely hearing, and I thank Senator Peters for working with our office to set this up. With that, I'll recognize the ranking member for his opening statement.